Hello and welcome to Matchbook Betting Exchange, a Greyhound Derby podcast. Of course, we are once again discussing all matters Star Sports, TRC, English Greyhound Derby at Toaster. I'm joined once again by Paul Lawrence, although I would imagine over the next half an hour it'd be probably more like Paulie O'Lawrence because there's going to be an awful lot of Irish talk, Paul. Let's get into the Derby in just a moment. But before we do, let's take a sort of general overlook at it. Ireland are in around 1-7 to win the English Greyhound Derby. 12 of the top 14 of the betting, for the top 5 effectively. It's we didn't want to say it from the outset, but it's what we sort of suspected might happen. Just seemed to be a stronger team in Ireland. Obviously, we were expecting from post to pillar to be still there and banging away sort of at the top of the market. But once he went out, just looked like the Irish were the ones to beat.
Yeah, and I think you got that flavour as well when Swords Rex broke the track record in the trial stakes, Ian, as well. So it kind of gave you the flavour that the Irish were going to fetch a smaller team, but quite a strong team, because Graham Holland's team just look fantastic, don't they? They've got real strength in depth as well, and of course Liam Dowling again with plenty of real strong runners in his team as well. Obviously, we like Ballymacfin and Marino and dogs like that, but you put up Clona Duke and Swords Rex at much bigger prices than they are now, and they've performed, and that's what you want to see in the early rounds. It's from Graham's Holland's point of view, his dogs really are at the top of the game. A couple of Liams are just kind of coming to the ball now, aren't they?
Yeah, one or two obviously went out in the previous round, but still 17 remaining. So just under a third of the field when you consider where we were at the start. What was it? 27 of 180 odd, shall we say? And then last week it was 20. Well, it was supposed to be 24 of the remaining 96, which would have been exactly a quarter, but Dolores Root pulled out a couple. So just really 5 dogs getting knocked out from Team Ireland. At the top of the market, though, it is Swords Rex. He returned basically to clear favoritism. He had been sort of disputing it a little bit, but there he is, 5.5, and that seems perfectly fair. PL, he's done everything right. He's just a thoroughly professional greyhound.
Yeah, I must admit, looking at the top end of the market, it is pretty scary, really, isn't it? I think Swords Rex is the real deal. I think that Clona Duke is an up and coming dog as well. So yeah, all in all, I think they're rightfully up there. Marino as well, likewise. But I think probably Swords Rex for me, out of those three, is the one I think most likely to win the Derby.
We have Romeo Magico, of course, the defending champion, fourth in there at 10.5. He ran very well to win his second round assignment. All the pace is still down there. The back straight, Paul, that's the one thing we've said all along. Just that few yards into the corner. Now, the other night, he had no room. He's very much the meat in the Greyhound sandwich. 1 and 3 came straight in on him, but still forced his way through the turn second, and once doing so, charged into that third bend to take it up. A lot of the pace is still there, but you just want to be doing things right from now on.
Yeah, I mean, you keep saying this about his early pace. I thought he went to the corner all right, and like you say, when he's getting squeezed as well, and still trying to do it. He's such a good competition dog. He proved it last year, but I always thought his weapon was 2 to 3 anyway. But I know you said right from the outset, you kind of thought, I'm not too sure whether he's got that old early. I wouldn't be so sure. I think he's all right, me, and I think I mentioned last week. I just think he's probably fitness-wise, he's not quite there yet. So I'd say there's a bit more to come from him. And say we know he's been there, seen it, and done it at Toaster as well. So I wouldn't be discounting him at all.
He certainly has. The top English trained runner in the field at present, in terms of the prices, I would suggest, is Romeo Command. He's 2 from 2 PL. He's a hugely fast greyhound. We know that. Like he was formerly trained by Graham Holland, but just probably brought over to the UK to give him sort of self-confidence builder. He's 1 from 11 in Ireland, won his first 10 in the UK, and has really sort of returned to that type of form in the last couple of weeks. He got up last week to beat Burj Khalifa, while Burj Khalifa was a big price. It's no easy task to pick up a greyhound that can absolutely gallop. He's a real powerhouse, Burj Khalifa, and to pick him up and to beat him by a length in 29.05, I thought there was a lot to like about Romeo Command.
I think he's one of those that seems to be, like, again, a good competition dog. I always find him more workmanlike than flashy and stunning. if you compare him to Romeo Magico, I think Romeo Magico's got more natural speed, if you like, whereas Command just he kind of grinds out his wins, and he never really. I don't think he's really particularly got the wow factor, but he, as you say, he keeps getting the job done. So you can't grab him in that respect.
You certainly can't. Let's look beyond him. Next in, we have a couple of runners who were beaten in the previous round, but Ballymac Finn, Irish Derby runner-up. We haven't really seen the best of him, PL. He is a dog that, that can do it everywhere. Like he's not a short runner or anything like it, but he really didn't have enough to contain Clonadduke last week, and there's no shame in that. But we've yet to see the very best of him. He's capable of a much better start. He's drawing the middle the next night, so I suppose those are holding outright tickets on him are still keeping faith and hoping that he can find a start.
Yeah, I think it's one that I'm holding a ticket, and it is more hope at the moment that he is kind of maybe just struggling to settle in, and maybe that's why he just hasn't been coming home that hard, especially in the first round. He didn't. I thought he was a little bit better last time, but we were mentioning off air, probably that switch to 3 might just help him come out the traps and then show that early that we know that he's got in. I think there's more to come from him, but it's one of those where I think I'd rather see it on Saturday than wait for the week after. Put it that way.
Yeah, I know. You want to see it. Like once it comes once, it could come quickly, twice, 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
He is proven that he's a competition greyhound, and yeah, we'd like to see the best of him. And next in is Gate Time Nemo, another one of the Graham Holland trained runners. I thought perhaps one of the performances of the opening round. Things didn't go well for him. He didn't quite get the start he needed. He tried to pace up the inside, couldn't get around Fate Point Susie, checked off wide. Like off the second bend, he's in serious bother. And then by the third bend, he's right on their tail and looking perhaps like he's going to land the spoils. Although, the one thing about Fate Point Susie, she does run right to the line. She's just a very hard, plucky lady to get by. And I thought he ran a big race. He's only beaten a length and a quarter. Yes, the time isn't there, 29:49, but just the manner in which he ran, where he could have easily found himself out of the competition.
Yeah, no, it was a taking performance. You're right, and I actually backed Fate Point Susie at a big price. That was one of my success stories of that particular night. But Gaytime Nemo definitely caught the eye as an unlucky loser because he, as you say, he jumped over the back of it, and then he got dragged back as he was doing it around the first bend, and he flew down the back straight, and then he was trying to get past rivals as well, and he just got held up again and got beaten nothing. And I was really impressed with him in the previous round, the first round. He's a dog that I really like, and again, he's just another of Graham's team that looks capable of going deep in this derby. So yeah, I agree with you. It was a real nice performance.
And the last of the dogs in the ticker is Mary Champion. Now, his last 3 starts at Toaster Reed, won 3.5 lengths, 29.01, won 4 3/4 lengths in 28.94, and won 3 3/4 lengths in 29.12. Like, we should be absolutely, over the moon, so impressed with this greyhound. Yet there's something about him that just doesn't. He's just not blown me away per se. I just think he's a really strong running sort of greyhound. I don't think he does anything flashy. I think maybe that's what. I don't think he flies into a corner. I don't think he's the fastest down the back straight, and I don't think he's coming home at a serious rate of knots. But he just does all 3 very well indeed. And dogs like that often do go under the radar somewhat. Like, he's still there, in the top 10 or 12 in the betting. Seamus Cahill, no doubt, very happy with him. He won't be 2 years of age until August. Just tell me I'm not as impressed with him, PL, as I should be.
Yeah, I think you said actually we had a kind of a discussion about him on how much early pace he had, and you didn't think that he had that much early pace, and I kind of countered that and thought he did, and yet it was probably the class of opposition that he was running against, because you're right, in the second round he didn't really fly to the bend by any means, but he did go down the back 2 to 3, and he stayed on well enough, and I'm the same as you. I don't really know too much about the dog, and you're still trying to assess what kind of dog he is. And I think I remember asking you a question once about Romeo Magico. What do you think is his biggest weapon? Me thinking it's 2 to 3. And I think from that point of view, Ian, I think we're still, as an unexposed dog, trying to work out uh, how good Marie Champion is, and is he an early pacer? Is he a back straight dog? Is he a? But you say he's probably got a fair bit of everything. But one of the things is he's been getting good draws, and that's been helping him sell himself, if you get what I
Yeah.
mean. So
Good draws in the right company is the way I'd be putting it. So he hasn't faced a tough test. Yes, the opening round he faced Distant Podge, but Distant Podge missed the kick. It was a 3-dog race, and he found himself up the inside of the two rivals, and that fell into his lap. Last week, like genuinely, he was 4-7, and you know I'm not an odds-on punter by any stretch of imagination, but 4-7 looked plenty generous about the company he was keeping.
yeah, I think he was actually 4-5 on the earlies, and he was one of them. I think when we went through the preview from the second round, you kind of skipped over and said, well, that's a gimme for him, and as if to say we can't really oppose him. And it's one of those where you assess what is his chances. What his draw was great. He was 4-5. He ends at 4-7, and sometimes you have to say, well, he was probably a better 4-5, and it was one of those, I think, where we, everyone is still trying to assess how good he is, and the thing is, whatever's been put in front of him, he's done it. So again, another dog that's airing his wares and quite
When a
capable of.
dog is when a dog is answering questions, you can't really knock him.
Exactly.
He's 6 from 8 in the UK. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, and 1 second place finish, so he's done absolutely nothing wrong, no question about it. And that his only other start, he was third to Ballymac John when finding crowding at the first and the third bend. So yeah, he's answering every question.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bit tougher on Saturday night, but again, he's got the draw. He's on the inside of Jack Tavernbella, who's not blessed with early speed. Goldie's Perryman will know go reasonably well, but he's not what you call a flying early speedster. Cochise is flying at present, but he's not going to fly to a corner. Silent Goofy is perhaps the most likely pace setter in the race. It'll be just interesting to see how he handles trying to pick up the likes of a Silent Goofy, or let's say he entered the back straight into Jack Tavernbella or a Cochise were on his backside and he needed to hold off them to qualify. Like, this will be a more testing run for him in the third round, no question about it.
Yeah.
Let's skip through the heats, and we'll probably touch on a few of the dogs that we haven't touched upon yet, PL. I'm looking at it. We're at 12 minutes in now. We'll give them about a minute and a half each, and then we'll give our best bets. And maybe, as I said last week, I'll allow you, or I think we'll both take a quick glance at the anti-post market. I don't know whether you want to go to the top of the market or somewhere down it a bit. We'll find another one maybe to add to our list. I'm not going to say the dreaded P word. The opening heat, PL, and here we have a red hot favourite in the form of Swords Rex in Trap 4. The anti-post favourite. He's done nothing wrong in his 2 starts to date: 408, 411, 28.95, 28.93. We know he has that 396, 28.76 track record breaking run in the trial stakes. Anything like those runs, and be very hard to beat, although the sort of the fly in the ointment could well be Ballymac Finn, who we've alluded to is in Trap 3. I think he'll go up much better from Trap 3. Now, he'll want to be, because Swords Rex is pretty professional and he'll be bang up there. Swords Rex for me is the one to beat. Last week we suggested Ballymac Finn and Clona Duke were a bit too wide apart in the betting. They sort of ended up where we not quite where we thought they'd be, but a little bit tighter. 4-9 and 7-2. I think the gap is a bit wide. I think I'd be more along the lines of a 4-7, 11-4. What way do you see it?
I think what they've been priced up in is what they've done in the competition so far, to be fair, Ian. And I think you're probably right to do that. We said last week we were talking about a dog, and we said, we've only had one look at him, we still don't know. Really, when you've had 2 looks and you're not getting that excited by Ballymac Finn in what he's doing so far. So the jury's still out with him at what stage, how fit he is, how he's settled. As I say, I backed him anti-post. The thing is, Ian, you saw him in last year's Derby. You've seen him before that as well. So you know that there's a quality run in him. We're just waiting. And the other thing is, again, you quite rightly said, Trap 3 could easily fetch him out. And all of a sudden, if he does the 4-10 across the line, and Swords Rex does, Swords Rex has been going up. I think it was his comment. Very quick away. I didn't really think it was very quick away. It was just
no. He hasn't bingoed since that trial stake.
No, exactly. And I think the sexual tells you that was just pure raw early pace, and that's what you have to base those prices on, is what you've seen from Swords Rex. He looks a Derby dog in waiting. He looks like he's back to his his Kirby form. Or you could say even better, he's taken to Toaster, which is a real important thing as well. And they're pricing the race up on the two greyhounds that have run recently. Finn just got that question mark about him.
There's no point in looking outside them, is there?
No, I can't. No, Swords Rex, I think will break smartly. He should hold Finn to the bend, or he'll dispute with him. And I think actually he's staying well. Just give Swords Rex a clear run, and if he does the 28.90, that should be good enough. I'm not saying Finn can't do a 28.90. I'm just saying from what you've seen so far. But having said that, we both wouldn't be surprised if Finn went wallop and put it up to Rex. So it's an interesting tussle, put it that way. I wouldn't be going anywhere near Swords Rex at 4-9 with a Ballymac Finn inside him.
It's a bit of a watching brief, really, and just again,
Exactly.
if you're holding on to vouchers with either, just fingers crossed that
Just
they don't clash. We just want them to go around first and second, and two best dogs go through. Moving on to the second heat, where Clonagh is the 4-7 favourite. He's got some decent trackers in his inside. Beepers Lariat and one who hasn't trapped but has shown loads of early speed in the starts today. Fate Point Susie, who is trapping and is just running so very, very well for John Mullins. Brinkley's Magic, who stayed on to land the spoils last time. Jetstream Wind, an opening round winner, and Untold Slotty, who ran well in the opening round. Clonagh is in four. He did a 4:41 last week. Is that right? 4:41. That's hardly right. And he did a 3:98 the previous week. I don't know if you're ever going to get a bigger gap between races. 43 spots. Just in England, what's that? Nearly 5.5 lengths. In Ireland, that's 6 lengths plus. Clonagh is a worthy favourite. You want to be doing things right at boxes, but if he does, it's very hard to see past him. Beepers Lariat is on the right side of Fate Point Susie, but he's need to have to find his trapping boots. If he doesn't, he's going to struggle. PL, is it as simple as Clonagh hitting the lids and going on to score?
No. I like Fate Point Susie here. You mentioned about the time she did last week. It was a bit of a messy race. I think Fate Point Susie is quality. Now, you're going to tell me so is Clonagh. He's broke the track record, and I agree with you. But the thing is that if you ask me where does Clonagh want to be drawn, I'd say 3 or 4. When he did his best run, he did it from 1. He went wallop from 1 and moved off into the middle of the track. So there is an inconsistency in his braking. He's still got to do it, and again now you're getting deeper into the competition. Now he's got to do it against better dogs. He can't be fluffing his lines at the start and being out in the middle of the track when he's got speedy dogs like this on his inside. I'm not saying he can't win. He probably is the deserved favourite, but I wouldn't have him as short as he is. He actually, when he missed his break last week so badly, I put VSA, he's got missed break on his card. He actually did show a fair deal of early to go up as well.
He has tremendous early speed. Like he's massive pace everywhere. Yeah,
he's got a racing brain as well, and that's very, very important because he ducked inside where the dogs were moving off at the first bit. He ducked inside him. He got himself into the contest. So I get all that, but he's got 3 quick dogs inside him now. Beepers Lariat, as you say, is not breaking at all, but actually showing pace of the turn as well, and showing good back straight pace and actually coming home reasonably well. Fate Point Susie is a bitch that I know John Mullins is still learning how to train her. She is breaking the bars down, and that is an important thing. She's just clockwork breaker. Now, I know you say, PL, she could miss it, but she just, at the moment, you have to take what you see in. She's breaking well. Brinkley's Magic, he's a quirky sort. He's got gears, but again, he's not a brilliant starter by any means. I just think when the trap's open, you'll see a little white bitch. She's 31.5 kilos. She'll flash out. You'll see a little blue jacket on her, and I think she'll be holding them to the turn. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because how far is she going to be in front of a Beepers Lariat or a Brinkley's Magic or a Clonagh? And then we'll see how good she is. But I think she's got the lot in. I think there's no vulnerability with her at all, and I just think she's got a touch of quality. So I think she was 6 or 7 to 1. I think it's completely and utterly wrong.
Yeah, I think if there is a weak point, it is probably 2 to 3. I just go back to last week where Gaytime Nemo finding all that traffic, and he still took 2-3 lengths off her down the back straight.
No, I don't think he took
It
that
is a
much.
concern. Yeah.
No, I don't think he took that much. I think you're right. Gaytime Nemo took off. He did. I know he did. But I think she might have enough. You could be right. That might be one. She might hit a little bit of a flat spot. But I think I've seen her go down the back all right now. Again, that might be opposition, and she's got to do it against quality dogs here. But I want to pay the fine to find out, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of faith in her, and at 7 to 1, I think it's a bit insulting to her ability.
Well, you're taking, like, you're not taking your chances. The wrong expression. You're going with what you think will be in front, and sure, that's half the battle. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And 6 or 7 to 1. There's not too many of these to pick her up. Certainly not. I think from a punting point of view, obviously with the exchanges, the likes of Matchbook, you'll be sitting there on Saturday night and hoping that a few people take the same view as you, and maybe Beeper's Lariat, and even, who knows, an Untold Zloty, and that 4 to 7 Clonadue could suddenly become 8 to 11. 4 to 5, 4 to 5. I think he's a play. Myself, I think he'll be very hard to beat. That's my view. You have an alternative view. I can see it, and I can certainly see the angle, because if you ask me what's going to be in front after 20 yards, it's odds on it's going to be Fate Point Susie, and yet she's 6 or 7 to 1 to win her heat. That doesn't really make sense to me either. She probably should be clear second favorite, maybe a half or just over half the price she is now.
Yeah.
Moving on to the third heat. This is one of the sort of real Irish versus English sort of clashes in terms of the betting. We've got a 6 to 4 chance Romeo Command, should I say, and 11 to 8. I'd imagine it'd be 6 to 4 on the night. Boyle Sports Gift. Boyle Sports Gift was my one of my best bets last week. I advised at 4 to 1, returned at 13 to 8. Somebody's listening, PL. Somebody's listening. Although I thought it did stand out in the card beforehand. You said it as well. That 4 to 1 from a perfect draw. All he had to do was trap on terms. He could easily find himself in front. That's what he did. I think he's capable of going up even faster. And I think when he gets in front, it's going to need a good one to catch him. I think he's the deserving favourite here. Cyanosis, Infield Billy, Tommy's Boss, and Savannah Hero complete the lineup. But I think if Boyle Sports Gift comes away on terms or traps like he can, I just wouldn't be surprised if he left them standing. A 121 Limerick is serious pace to the opening corner, and I'm going to go for him to lead all the way.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I'm still trying to work out how much early he has got. I know he's got a bit of early, and I know he stays well. I don't really like the makeup of this race. That's the thing. I'd make him favourite. Whether I make him a bet or not, I'm not so sure. I don't understand why Sign It Otis is seeded as rails. Is a middle dog all day long for me. We'll be moving off from this draw. Obviously, Romeo Command's just got to mind himself a little bit, and more of the staying dog, as we mentioned. Infield Billy probably likewise. Really, he broke well, didn't he? I put him up as a little bet. Infield Billy is a bit of value, and he was a small success for me. But again, he's got a tricky draw now. Tommy's Boss has got a nice bit of early. I don't know whether Savannah Hero could get around Tommy's Boss. They've got a little bit of pace. It could get messy on the inside. So you just want Ball Sports Gift to, I think he'll stay fairly straight from 4. He might edge in a little bit, but Infield Billy will be going in for him. So it might not be a terrible draw by any means. So you're right. If he gets any kind of start, I'm just worried about, obviously, but probably from 1 he is edging off as well. So maybe I'm overthinking it. And maybe the 4 box isn't that bad. What sort of price was he in Ball Sports Gift to win this heat?
He's around 11 to 8. Well, he's 11 to 8. I think best price at present. I think he'll get 6 to 4. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I at 6 to 4. I'd be perfectly happy. I'll be polishing up the bugle. Don't you worry about that.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Fair enough.
Heat 4. Ballymacarino 2 to 7. Is it just a case of he does what he's been doing and he wins?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Let's move on. Drive On Lad will be staying on stoutly, as will Hurry Up Jordan. Yeah, I managed to lay Hurry Up Jordan in the opening round. You'd be happy to hear. I couldn't see any way, shape, or form in which he'd win. And needless to say, off the last bend, my heart absolutely sank. Ballymac John Joe pinged out of trap 6, and I went, "Go on, you good thing." Just didn't have the pace to hold his position, and then Crypto Punk decided to take a right turn, Clive in the bend, and knock him out of his stride. And Hurry Up Jordan landed the spoils late. Just as a side note, it's not all trumpet blowing in this case. I wanted to throw the trumpet out the bloody window at that stage. Ballymac Marino 2-7, away and gone. Thanks very much. Heat 5, Romeo Hanzo. Am I the only one in feeling that was a disappointing run last week, PL, where he should have won where he was, should he not? I know Brinkley's Magic is a very fast greyhound, but like Romeo Hanzo was a dog we were sort of highlighting, had serious outright claims. Just a bit disappointing.
No, I wasn't. Well, I was disappointed. I was disappointed, but I knew why I got beat. They finished clear. He got out nodded, didn't he? That was all. No, Hanzo probably he just got turned sideways as well at the first bend as he was trying to cut in. The one and the two on the inside of him just kind of he lost a bit of momentum in doing that. No, I like this dog. I really like this dog, and I think he'd win this heat as well.
He's 6-4 PL. Had he avoided that traffic in the opening bend last week and then won in 29-10 or 29-15, by a length or two, he'd be 4-7 for this season. Am I right in saying that? Like, is 6-4 a bit of an overreaction to get beaten last week?
6-4 is enormous. I think he's by far the best dog in this race. I don't really think he wants to be in red particularly, but he won out of red in the trial stakes. I think he met Brinkley's Magic. That was who he was going to the bend with, and they sort of rubbed shoulders, and he kind of lost his balance and probably then ran off because he lost his balance and didn't really know Toaster that well. He's learning how to run Toaster well. I thought he broke moderately in last weekend. I thought he flew to the bend. He was trying to cut in at the turn, and he just got broadsided, but he still had the wherewithal to get to the front. And as I say, that he just got, let's get it right. Brinkley's Magic's got gears, and if he wants to use them, he will. If he doesn't want them, he won't. So we just got unlucky that he got nodded. He was galloping on strongly. This dog has got the lot. There's no dangers about that. Romeo Hanzo is a quick dog. I think the makeup here, Aaron will be edging off. Not really got a lot of early pace either. Savannah Bailey, probably a breaker, not really got a lot of early. Blackhouse Harry hasn't really got a lot of early, although he could smash from the middle box. Ninja Kerry's got a little bit. And Forest Icon has been quite impressed with his early speed. Whether he can get to the front and stay there, mine's a different matter. I think Romeo Hanzo will be up inside him at the second turn, or if not, he'll lead him. So I like Romeo Hanzo, and I think 6-4 is, again, a good bet.
While the exchanges will certainly be over the fixed odds come Saturday afternoon, one would suspect that the fixed odds will have righted himself by then, and the 6-4 will be decimated. I would see him going odds on, pretty early in the week now. To be honest, tend to agree with you there, PL. On to Heat 6, Gaytime Nemo's in 1, Undulations in 2, As I Say in 3, Savannah Bow 4, Distant Podge and Supernova. We have to do put the trumpet to your lips there, PL. Savannah Bow was your selection in the opening round at 5-1, returned 7-2, and won by 3 3 parts of a length, doing handstands, and PL doing somersaults around his living room.
Yeah, and actually, one firm went 7-1, which is quite nice. And it just had a great makeup. And again, we speak about, we do these podcasts and these assessments of races, and draws win races. And Savannah Bow had a lovely makeup with Goldie's Perryman, sort of kind of slowing the race down with Ben's Lad. So it just worked to perfection. He just bided his time. He was actually there. He actually got a good break, didn't he? And he was there on the bend. He just got kind of a little bit. He just minded himself and probably lost a little bit of momentum at the first turn. But then once he's got that back straight pace, he flew down the back, and then he just got to him, and he blitzed away from him in the end. So yeah, it's just one of those where 5-1 seems crazy, and then someone else went 7. So it was it was a strange one. There was money for Jack Tavern Bella, wasn't there?
There was money for her, and again, like I've been waiting for her to be found out into the opening corner, and funnily enough, this was the heat where I didn't think she would be found out in the opening corner. There didn't seem to be an awful lot of early speed in the race, and she did get a bit outpaced, ran on strongly again to
Hmm.
qualify. She actually finished second. I thought she was in real danger of not qualifying at the third bend, but actually got second in
Yeah.
the finish. And yeah, it was a strange type of heat, but this is a strange heat. Like this, you can make it. You can make a line for any of these. Like the rank outsiders, as I say, who I thought potentially ran one of the biggest races of his career in the previous round. Be beaten 2 and 3 parts by Sign It Goofy. He was out with the washing early. I thought he ran a remarkable race. Like considered he did 29:01 the previous week. His kennel companion beside him, Undulation, has done 29:02, 29:12, and 29:06. So she hasn't quite gone as fast as I say, and she's 2-1 and he's 16-1. Now Undulation will certainly drift off the opening corners, and just if he happened to be right in behind her, you never know where he might end up. Gaytime Nemo has a great draw. If he traps, that's the issue though, PL. But yeah, listen, I'll end up siding with Gaytime Nemo. I have absolutely no doubt about it. But you can sing it that some of that little 16-1 there'll be a little nibble there, just in case, or shall we say?
Yeah, as you say, it's a just in case he goes wallop and clears the two inside, and those things can happen. And when you're looking at those prices, that you're quite right to add that little small nibble as well. As you say, on the exchange, they could even go into the 22 mark as well. So, me personally, I think it's two big runners, but I think they're priced accordingly on the inside. I think Undulation, when she ran in the first round, she kind of ran off at the first turn. But I've watched those head-ons, and she's not moving off actually as much as I anticipated she would in the second round. And now I've got to grips with her. I actually think that she'll stay reasonably straight from two. I think she'll just go 2.5, something like that. And I think now she's
It's
actually
it's
learning.
it's when she starts to turn that she just stays middle. She won't be cutting in or anything.
Yeah, but I think she was cutting in going into the turn. That's what I like. The first round, Ian, she definitely did almost like a right-hander.
Yeah.
But the second time she didn't, and that's what I'm saying about kind of getting to grips with a certain track and learning how to run a track. I actually think I've changed my opinion, because if you remember, I thought Romeo Magico would get inside her, and all right, that proved to be. I'm not, can't get the bugle out too many times, but that kind of worked because I thought that she would go wider than she actually did. So I think I'm kind of changing my opinion about it. And I think you mentioned that she might have been in season. It doesn't actually say that on the race card. I was kind of looking for that, but you
We
mentioned she
don't we
might.
don't do that. We don't have to do that in Ireland, I'm afraid. No,
No,
no, that's
I know
you
that
keep
now.
that in your pocket in Ireland, you
I,
know.
I know that. Yeah, I know that now.
She's
So,
about, I think she's about 16, 17 weeks now, so she should be just spot on.
but that's what I'm saying. And because Lorraine always used to say this to me as well, when when they're changing the hormones and when as they're coming out of season, the kind of the muscle definition changes as well. And I just wonder whether uh, Brenda's now got Undulation coming just right. She threw herself round the bend. If she's getting that little bit stronger, Ian, I think she's a big big runner. I think she's probably priced about right. It's tough for me to take on Gaytime Nemo on the draw because, like you say, he actually took off last week. So I think they were the two runners. I can understand where you're coming from. I thought the others had a mountain to climb. As much as I like Savannah Bow, I hope he qualifies for Kevin. I think Distant Podge and Supernova probably might just get found out here. But again, if there is trouble on the inside, then they might be able to qualify late. I thought the two fast dogs were drawn reasonably well on the inside. I think they'll be hard to beat.
Moving on to Heat 7, Married Champion is currently around a 7-4 chance, 2-1 trap 5, Sign It Goofy. Other players, Jack Tavern Bella 7s, 8s, Goldie's Perryman, Cochise 6, Burj Khalifa 20. I thought Burj Khalifa ran a big race in defeat last time out, but he's not going to get around Sign It Goofy. Let's be honest. Strange type of race. I think I'd favour Sign It Goofy over Married Champion, but I'd probably slip into something at bigger prices and hope for a little bit of luck. Maybe a Jack Tavern Bella, or even Cochise is running so well, but probably not a betting heat for me, PL.
No, it was. I got drawn into Sign It Goofy this year because again, he loves Toaster. He's breaking clockwork. all right, and as soon as he breaks reasonably well, he shows real top class early pace. And he's just my sort of dog, really. He always, everyone seems to think, because I think he was sprinting before he went into the Derby, and everyone, he's a short runner, and yeah, he can get found out at top class. But see these early rounds, he completely and utterly blitzes fields, and he keeps staying there. And
He
again, when
he
you're doing,
he enters the back straight three in front here, does he not?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And you're right. If Jack Bella was anywhere near him at the halfway or weaving close, but then from what you said last week, she basically is a six bender plus, and it's difficult to see where she's going to turn here. As you say, Marie Champion's going to be in front of her. Cachise, the way he's strapping, is going to be in front of her. He's been a revelation, Cachise. I backed him last week as well, and he he's with Savannah Hero for much of the contest, and he won 5 lengths in the end. He just ran away from him.
Yeah, he's
but
so strong.
He's trapping
Yeah.
and get himself in the contest. So, and you're right. Again, Burj Khalifa showed nice early pace last week, but I don't think Burj Khalifa can lead. I think Silent Goofy will get inside Burj Khalifa, and then, as you say, be away and gone out the second turn. So, yeah, I was a small bet there, around about the 2-1 mark, Silent Goofy, but again, I totally agree with you. I think anything could win that race.
Yeah.
Probably against Burj Khalifa, and maybe Goldie's Perryman can't quite live with these. But yeah, Marie Champion, interesting again, isn't it? Marie Champion and Cochise, so they could turn very, very handy. It could be a good race, that one.
Yeah, I think I'll end up siding. Here I'll end up siding with Sign a Goof, but I know when I have to actually put my tip down for the media tipping challenge, it'll probably be Jack Bella. I think I'm going to go for an Irish clean sweep. 80 Stell with it. Right? Listen, it's like this. If I have an edge for being an Irishman, I'm willing to take it. Right? Heat 8 of the Star Sports TRC English Greyhound Derby, the last of the heats, and this features the defending champion Romeo Magico. Again, we've said it. You want to be doing things right at boxes, but McNeil on his outside is not blessed with early speed. Mystical Mario, you'd imagine, go reasonably straight. Ballyhimmick and Leo, ran well last week to take advantage in the opening corner. He was in a nice pitch anyway, and hopes Wolf for the outside. It's all about Fabulous Azura, really, for Romeo Magico. If he clears her early, he'll probably be very hard to beat. I still think there's a big run in her. She seems to be coming really back to herself, and she's 8-1 looks very big about Fabulous Azura, just as I see it.
Yeah, she's one, and again another one of those. That she's been in season, and that she probably doesn't look as good as she was when she was in the Oaks, and prior to that in last year. But it might just be again that Patrick's just fetching her wrong because he knows that he's got a quality bitch, an Oaks class bitch that can go deep in the Derby. So it might, again, another one where she's coming out of season. It might just be that she's taking time to get to full fitness. But you're right, Ian. She's got quality, and she's got a draw on the inside. Romeo Magico doesn't generally break the bars down. I think he's got the pace to win this. Probably the inside pair, here. Ballycon Himmick and Leo was a dog that I liked from the first round. I put him up as a bet at a big price. I think he ended up 3-1. Backed him at 5-1. I think he was 6s as well. So he's got a tricky enough draw because he's got a bit of early and Mystical Mario inside him, but he doesn't have to lead to win anyway. So it's. I thought it was a real difficult race to assess here, as you say, because of probably the anomaly that you don't really know how fit Azura is, and sort of certain trap draws didn't really help. So probably gun to my head, I'd say Magico, but again, the same as you'd probably be looking for maybe a bit more value on certain scenarios in this race.
I would have liked a bit of 5-1 about McNeil in the same race. I slagged him off last week being a 5-4 chance at that stage in the week. Now he was returned bigger price. He was returned 13-8. Still 13-8 seemed very short to me, but it just felt lovely for him, and he's such a big finisher that if he happened to make the most of the draw here, and Fabulous Azura and Romeo Magico went round in front, if any sort of bumping, he fell in behind them, it's going to be very, very hard to stop. To keep out of the frame. It's the type of greyhound that he is, and if he was a bit bigger than 7-2 on the night, I wouldn't sort of put people off maybe having a nibble if he was around 9-2, 5-1. And I think that's very feasible, especially if there's money going to come for the likes of Fabulous Azura, who cannot possibly go to traps at 8-1 PL. Like, surely she'll go to traps 4-1.
Yeah, you could be right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, because of the leadability factor, Ian. Yeah.
Yeah. Leadability. Love it. PL. Best bet. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Sorry about that.
Best
bet
bets
of the round. Or best bets, yes. Short one or a bigger price one, whichever you want, or a bit of both.
My strongest bet will be Romeo Hanzo in Heat 5.
I'll listen. I might as well just say I'll double that. Right, we're both going to Romeo Hanzo. Go on.
Yeah, and I've got to go with 5 Point Susie at around about the 6 or 7-1 mark, really.
No, that's fair enough. 5 Point Susie. You've certainly made your case for her, and she does look like the one to oppose Clona Duke with, perhaps. Certainly with Beeper's Lariat not hitting the lids at present, she could be right up there in the mix. Of the ones at bigger prices, and I'm struggling because one or two of the ones I thought would be, bit of value aren't quite the value I thought they'd be. I have mentioned, as I say, like 16-1, like he's probably still 12-1 chance, but just could be worth a little nibble, but he's not going to be my selection. Instead, you know what I'll go for? I'll go for McNeil, right? I will go for McNeil in the final heat, just as the value option against Fabulous Azura and Romeo Magico. And the funny thing is, Fabulous Azura probably represents more value at this stage, but I think sort of coming towards race time, I think McNeil will be a bigger price than Fabulous Azura. Certainly a matchbook betting exchange in around a 5-1 mark. I wouldn't put you off having a couple of quid as just an interest. So Romeo Hanzo for myself and PL. PL is going for 5 Point Susie, and I'm going to stick in McNeil, hopefully at a bigger price on the night. PL, I said you could have a little addition to your anti-post selection. Is there anything there that sort of just catching the eye?
Yeah, probably the 3 dogs that I quite fancy. I've backed some singles, and I think because I fancy them, I would probably have a little bit of interest. And again, because it's an exchange, and you tend to get bigger prices than the high street bookmakers when they settle down. I think 5 Point Susie, about 60 or 70 would be an interest for me. Romeo Hanzo, I think, is probably worth a note. But I probably mentioned him last week that I'd add him to the list. And then I still think I really like Sonic Goofy. I just think he's because he's going to keep getting a decent enough draw. I think he's middle, but if he gets 5, it's not going to worry him if he gets 6. He's probably a 4 or a 5 dog. I just think because he's going to keep getting decent draws and he's got that awesome early pace, I'll put him in a little bit as well, because I think he's a reasonable price for a dog that I think, because he's going to lead, he's going to keep qualifying, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, he'd be around the 20-25-1 mark. And you never what sort of price he'd be in Matchbook come Saturday afternoon. Of mine, I have 2 Graham Holland ones left in it, Swords Rex and Clona Duke, and I was just looking at Gay Time Nemo and Romeo Hanzo. I couldn't really have a clean sweep of Graham Holland trainers. So you know what I'll do? Maybe just at a big price. I think there's 33s would be in around about his price. McNeil. I'm after tipping him up to win on Saturday night or go close on Saturday night. I think it'd be hard to keep out of frame. He's so strong, and just as it gets more competitive and there's more early speed going up against each other, he's one of those dogs that can just sort of sneak in, pick up the pieces in behind, and he's basically replacing my Ballymac John Joe, who I was so disappointed went out last week, because this is the point in the Derby where he would have come into his own, where he can start picking up the pieces. So McNeil will be my addition to it. PL, that's it. Lots still happening in the Derby to come. Final July 1st. Lots to look forward to. But for the moment, we've some top quality action to look forward to on Saturday night.
Yeah, especially when they're all on the same night as well. It's really something to savour and look forward to. Again, we've dissected what we think. That there's some strong fancies, there's some where you don't really know, and it's all about assessing what the value is. And as you say, come near the off, that's where especially the beauty of a matchbook exchange comes into fruition, really, because you can get some really decent prices.
Yeah, those last that last minute and a half, 2 minutes before the
Yeah.
races, where things really start to take off, and you see prices. You go, God, I couldn't believe this dog. Like I thought this dog was a 6-4 chance, and there he is at 9-4, and you're going, ah, sure, you'd have to have a nibble at that. Anyway, that's it, PL. Again, thanks for joining us on this Wednesday morning. I don't know if you're watching this Thursday or Friday, but if you are taking an interest in Saturday night at Toaster, well, the very best of luck going forward. That's it, though, from us on this Matchbook Betting Exchange Greyhound Racing podcast. We'll see you next time.